This conference
We're
will now
all
be
finishing
recorded.
up our first year of nursing school. We're actually in an accelerated program, so we'll be done next May.
And then are you getting, there's so many nursing degrees. Which nursing degrees are you guys going with?
It's the Bachelor of Science in Nursing.
Okay, so you're getting the bachelor's. Okay, I can't keep it all straight because there's like there's just so many levels. So well, welcome. If you guys have any questions at any time, feel free to write them in the chat box or speak up. We had this discussion last time about raising our hands. That was not an available function last week, but something happened to everything, and now we have the new interface. So now we have it. So if you want to do that, let us know. And we'll go ahead and start introductions. I will go first. My name is Kim. I live in Des Moines, Iowa. I'm sorry, I've been up since 4 a.m. So I have fatigue issues, and it will definitely show tonight in cognition issues. Let's see, I'm in Des Moines, Iowa, relapsing and remitting, diagnosed 2012, and I'm on Ocrevus. Okay, John, you're up next. And you're muted.
Yes. So apparently, obviously, I'm John. I live in Big Rapids, Michigan, which is up the coast a little bit. I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting MS in 2016, and I'm on Zeposia.
Okay, thank you, John. And then did you need any time to talk at all tonight, John? You said
Just a little thing, but after intros.
okay, yeah, I like to do intros first and then we can talk or else we get delayed. Thank you, John. Okay, Jen, you're up and you're missing your significant other half here.
Yes, hi, I'm Jennifer Digman. I have secondary progressive MS. I was diagnosed way back in 1997, and I had to have a Rituxan infusion yesterday. So Dan's doing a little work because he took me. He's catching up on stuff. My husband also has MS, but he's not here, but he'll be here next time.
And then did you need any time tonight, Jen, to talk about anything? Okay. Mary, you're up next.
Hi. Sorry, I was looking at the event coming up for tomorrow with Elizabeth Jameson. So, hi. I haven't been here in a while, and yeah, I'm from Dallas, Texas, and was diagnosed with MS in 2001. Um, and it's been an interesting journey, as we all know. But I um, I have been I am not on any medications at this time. There's a question mark there as far as if I will get back on something. Those of you that don't know me and or don't know my story, I've been on 8 different medications over the years with it's just been problematic and other issues. So we're just not quite sure where to go. So, but also with my age, there's all sorts of different studies and things going on out there as far as if there's like an age cutoff time or not. But I'm not going to go there into that right now. But so that's just my brief little story. That I'm not on any medication at this time. But I'm hanging in there, just taking it day by day.
And then did you need any time tonight, Mary?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you need any time to discuss things tonight? I just want to make sure that people that came and wanted to talk about anything, we know ahead of time so I can just say yes or no. That's fine.
I don't think so.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, Frank, you're up next.
Hey, my name's Frank Austin. I'm from Plainville, Kansas, right smack dab in the middle of the United States. I had secondary progressive MS. I was diagnosed in 1997, either just before Jennifer or just after. I don't know. I don't care. And I'm on sunshine. I take no meds at all, and I'm doing okay. And hey, it's vitamin D. What can you say? And I do have something to say tonight.
Okay, great. Thanks for letting us know, Frank. All right, Soleil, you're up next.
I'm Soleil. I live in Brooklyn, New York. I've had MS for 21 years. I have progressive MS, and I'm on Ocrevus.
And then did you need any time tonight, Soleil? Maybe later. Okay.
Can I just ask Soleil, when you said progressive, because I feel like I'm the only one with primary progressive, like what kind of progressive do they say?
The doctor said secondary progressive, but I don't really agree with it. I think I really have primary. It's a linguistic thing. I have progressive MS, okay? And it's progressive. That's all that counts.
Okay. Lou, did you need any? Okay, we already talked about that. If you need time to let Soleil. Louis, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Louis from San Antonio. Diagnosed in December of relapse remitting, and I'm on Ocrevus. And I did have a question later for y'all about two medicines.
Great. All right. Thank you so much, Louis. Carmen, are you new? Are you?
Yes.
Introduce yourself. Welcome.
Hi, I'm from Canada. Carmen from Canada. I don't know if
Woo! Where in Canada? What province?
I'm in British Columbia. So yes. Kelowna, British Columbia. I have primary progressive. So was it Karen? I'm trying to keep up with who. It's hard to see who's speaking because the box doesn't light up it like Skype does. So I'm just catching up here a little. Anyway, I have primary progressive. I was diagnosed in 2014. Ocrevus wasn't available up here, but I got myself into a study at the MS clinic at UBC in Vancouver. So I have been on ocrelizumab for the last 5 years, thankfully. Yeah, that's my story. I'm thrilled to be here and see some other faces and meet some people.
Nice.
And is there anything you wanted to talk about tonight at all? I know I'll get to you. I know we have some people, but since you're new to the group, we always love to give the new people time to ask questions because you have a whole slew of us. So.
Well, yeah, I need to have a knee replacement surgery soon, so I'm going to ask for anybody has any feedback or information that if they've gone through anything like that. So.
Okay, sounds great.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us. Andrea, you are next.
Hi, I'm Andrea Namath. I have relapsing remitting MS. I was diagnosed in 2011. I live in North Carolina, and I'm really tired tonight.
I hear you, Andrea. Did you have anything that we need to make time for you for? Do you anything you needed to talk about?
No.
Okay.
Oh, but I do take bifurcam, TAM, something like that. Disease modifying med.
I'm not really familiar with it, but my fatigue issues cognition issues are pretty high tonight, so it could be fun. But
mine are too. I'm a little tired. I can't even remember the name of the med. It's it's a cousin to Tecfidera. That one I can pronounce. No.
Not sure. Okay, let's go to the next person. Karen, you are up.
I have to laugh at the term cousin. And Carmen, I don't know if you can see because every screen is different, but I'm talking and it puts a little green light around me. No? Oh, yeah, I think it must depend on what you're going in on. I'm Karen. I'm in Oakland, California. I was diagnosed in 2019, January 2019, with primary progressive, but I found out that my chart says I have progressive MS, Soliel, you're right. I have progressive MS, quote, non-relapsing, but when I was diagnosed in 2019, even though I never had a relapse or whatever, I never had an episode, and the doctor did say to me, you might have had relapse and remitting, you just didn't know it. So I agree, it's a linguistic thing, and and I think progressive is progressive. It's bad once you're there. And yeah, I will have something I want to bring up.
Okay, I'll put you on the list. Thank you so much, Karen. I just remembered, Carmen, to tell you in the upper left-hand corner, it does say who's talking sometimes. So that kind of is helpful for that one. This is a brand new interface for us tonight, so we're getting used to it too. Jennifer, you are up next, girl.
Hello, I'm Jennifer. I'm from Richmond, Indiana. I have relapse remitting. I was diagnosed April 2019, and I'm on Aubagio. It's bougie. That's why that he gave. I was like, I want to take it because it's bougie. So whatever, it works.
And then did you need any time tonight, Jennifer?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And last but not least, I believe Tim, you're up.
Hey, good evening, afternoon, wherever you all are at. I'm down here in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Name's Tim Bryan. I have CIS, clinically isolated syndrome, and I too am on Aubagio, the best sounding medication there is out there. I'm telling you, I need to be a spokesman or spokesperson for them. I'm just going to sit in and listen tonight. I don't have anything up tonight that I need to get off my chest. So I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. And then Cheryl, are you a person here that has MS or are you one of the nursing students?
No, I have MS as well.
Oh, go ahead and introduce yourself, Cheryl.
I'm Cheryl Brophy. I'm from Monroe, Michigan. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure which type I have.
It's totally okay. Totally okay.
I was a little embarrassed to say that out loud, but I was diagnosed last April, actually. It's just turned a year since I found out that I had MS. So
welcome.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No need to feel embarrassed. I mean, if the experts don't know what to call it, why should you? Maybe that's just the new thing. Maybe it's just like, let's just call it MS.
Well, I went to physical therapy. I just started physical therapy and they asked me and I said, I'm not real sure. And she's like, oh, she just kind of looked at me. I'm like, I didn't know that there was, I was never really told.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started with the people that wanted to get some time. Feel free to write anything in the chat boxes, discuss amongst yourselves. I will give you a heads up if we are getting feedback from your microphone. I will mute you. Do not get offended. It's just so the other participants can hear each other. So, John, you are up first, bud.
I'm the first one down on The Price is Right. Hello.
You are.
So the thing I just want to talk about is it's really hard to keep these weeks separate sometimes. So I'm like, did I have a fall last week or 2 weeks ago? Are these people going to be bored of my fall story? So either way, get bored with it. Christmas Day, getting ready to head to my parents' house in Saginaw, Michigan. Hi, Michigan friend. And on the way down the ramp, my right leg started to give out. And since I was on a ramp, I fell backwards. I fell backwards on top of my own leg. So my big butt was crushing my leg. There's no real way that I can get up right now off the ground, especially after a fall. And my wife can't help me in my feet either. So, of course, we called for a lift assist. Blah, blah, blah. We don't have a wheelchair ramp. We only have this like smaller walker ramp, all that kind of stuff. To reassure you, I'm fine. Physically, I'm doing great. Emotionally, I'm a little scared to go down that ramp now. I fell in a stupid way on it. But then Monday, I got angry. Like, I need a damn ramp. There is no two ways about it. My PT gave me some recommendations of who to call. for like contractors and stuff, and I finally got one at the house today. So we made progress. I'm going to get an ADA compliant handicap ramp from my front door out to my driveway. And then in my kitchen,
Excellent.
yeah. Then from my kitchen out into my driveway, or out into the, at least into the garage. So I know that Jennifer commented on a Facebook post about it, like some recommendations. It was really hard to do anything. I mean, I'm in rural Michigan. I'm ruraler than Dan and Jennifer are. And I'm literally appalled at the lack of resources in my county for any help. The next county south of us is Kent County, where Big Rapids is, and they actually give some of their end of the year while we have some extra to the surrounding counties. So I guess it's like take what you can get if you can get it. So it's just a lot of struggle with ramps, you know. Made me super angry and everything, you know, like dang it, it's just a ramp, and that's money, and I don't make much. Um, so luckily, over a weekend, my mom and dad and my wife's mom and dad gave us some seed money, so we can tell the contractor that whenever he can start, please start. We've got money to like pay for all the stuff. So that was a big relief that's going to be funded. I was thinking about doing a GoFundMe, but you know how those things can go. I have not contact. I talked to Habitat for Humanity, but in my county they don't do that. And they sent me to a gentleman who had some contacts that were contractors. So that guy was able to give me a couple. My wife found some, and it just happened to be one guy just was helping out a friend in our neighborhood, and he stopped by. I was like, "Oh yeah, 14-foot ramp. Oh, that's no problem. Oh gosh, maybe like a 20-foot one from your garage. Oh, okay." And then we said, "Well, how do you feel about doing like bathroom work? Because I want a handicapped stall in my surrounding." And the guy was like, "Yeah, I can quote that out this summer." So it felt like good to have a guy. I'm doing a lot of bunny ears tonight, so it's nice to have a handyman available. And I think it's just if I didn't have my parents, I would be no further along than last week. You know, and you know how we all are. We don't want to bring anyone else down with like what is our want and our needs for the day, or you know, because I don't have a safe way to get out of my house. You know, um, and I know that a lot about what Karen talks about and what we talk about is a lot of like ramp stuff. So honestly, it's a son of a bitch to get one done, especially now that
Did you say, you said that, sorry, I'm butting in, but I'm like, oh my God, ramps. I could tell you all about it. Like, not just ramps. I mean, that's just what I've been going through. So, but you said you fell down a ramp at
yeah,
Christmas. That was someplace else?
at Easter at my house.
Oh, you meant Easter. I got it. You
Oh,
said Christmas. I got the same
oh, I'm
cognitive
sorry,
issues.
Easter, just like
I
2 weeks
totally
ago.
get it.
No, it's fine. If I misspoke, I misspoke. Sorry, everyone.
Nobody understands that. But you said
Um,
you fell down a ramp even though you don't have a ramp?
I have a ramp in my garage that goes down for 2 inches for every, goes down 2 feet for every inch. So it is not ADA compliant. And I wasn't feeling up to maintaining the speed that I had to get down there. And then once your legs start to go, you're going. At least for
But you
me.
were in the wheelchair?
No, I was using my walker.
Okay. It's really important for me to ask you these questions. Let me tell you
Yeah.
why.
So
Because,
it's
you know, I can't even get out my back door. So I had somebody come from the Center for Independent Living. Good luck. It's not going to happen where you live. But I was lucky enough to have a consult. And he said, a ramp and a platform vertical lift, which I didn't even know how to say the word, that there, he said, the cost is the same. But when you don't have, he said, a ramp, you need like a lot of space, like 12 foot, 25. In my case, I would need 26 feet of ramp. And he said, a vertical platform vertical lift, that's the way to go. And then I've talked to a few recommendations from the MS Society, which to me, sorry, people who love it, they're pretty useless, but I followed up on them. And it seems like everybody wants to sell me a freaking ramp because that's what they want to sell. They want to sell the ramp. So this place recommended for the vertical platform lift, and I'm in the middle of it. So this is kind of my topic anyway. So, and we're in the same thing with John. But I did have a contractor, and I'm in the middle of that kind of working out because he gave me a price and then the quote came in higher. And I have to, like, talk about being mad. I have to kind of just get in the right mood to say, okay, let me understand what's this about. Because after talking to 4 people, including someone who comes out to my house like you, and they like, oh, I can do your bathroom, I can do this, I can sell you products. I can sell you the products that I am selling, but are they the best solution for me? And so these guys, that contractor at the Center for Independent Living, they've for like 40 years been serving the disabled community in Berkeley, which is like a total haven for that. And they're like, lifts, they're so much easier, they're so much better. You don't, they take up less space. So I'm just putting that part out there. Like, have you considered that? Because I'm like you, John. I feel like I don't know nothing. I know nothing.
Well, I know that I want a ramp just because I don't use the wheelchair all the time. But the ramp means that I can still walk down it and use my wheelchair. So that's why I'm not doing a lift.
Because they said to me with the lift, because I just need my steps redone at this point because I can't safely get out my house. And he's like, both of them are like, look, I said, I still walk. So isn't that a little overkill to go for the lift right now? And but the two of them are like, you're going to keep losing strength and a ramp is hard. A lift can get you up and down. I'm not saying you should get a lift. I was more just saying that I got so pushed on the ramp that I felt ramped. Like.
I gotcha. Like I said to my wife at night, like I can't stop thinking about damn ramps.
And I can't stop thinking about lifts. But
Yeah.
I have applied with the MS Society because you're talking about money, and I don't trust them. I don't believe them. But they did, because I heard here that they are committed to funding things. So if you get in touch with a navigator and you tell them, I also think they do the chicken and egg thing, which makes no sense. Like, I had to get a letter from my doctor to say that I have MS and that I need a lift. And my doctor's never been in my house, so how would she know? But anyway, they did write it. And then I have to get an estimate from a contractor. And then after that, and you should find one you like. And like John, it's like, when you like, can I find one that will do it? And then after that, you can apply and they will give you maybe up to $3,000.
That does not sound like too much work for someone who sits at home playing video games and doing geology
Exactly.
all day.
It's exactly. It's more just the timing of, how am I going to get? And I even got as far as they gave me the contractor thing. I was told that by 2 people. So the one was gone, and so I got somebody else, and I said, I don't understand this. Like, I have to get all these details to you, and then you might fund it. And so this one, she said, Karen, it's highly unlikely we would not fund it. It's just we need these things, and that's the way it goes, and we will probably do it. So John, take it away. Try to do it.
Actually, I see Mary has her hand up and she's got big introductions into this. I'm excited to say, Mary, what do you have to say?
forgive me. This is kind of twofold, but it's all related. Number one, if an organization, and there are a handful of them out there that are the nonprofits, of course, and they do get grants, grant money. But and I posted in the chat box as far as there are things that the MS Association of America does,
Yeah, I
but
saw your
Karen,
links.
like you were saying, you have to. I mean, you can't just say, "Hey," send them an application, say, "Yeah, I have MS, and this is what I need." They need to have proof from from your doctor, and you
Oh
don't
yeah,
have to get
absolutely.
any notification from them, but you do have to show proof of what your income level is, some sort of proof, and it can just be like one page, like from a recent visit that you had, anything. So but they've been great with me, but also I wanted to say, and I posted the link. The MS Foundation has a bunch of different grants, and probably more than any of the other organizations that I've seen. In fact, one, and it's mark your calendars for, I think starting in June is when their Brighter Tomorrow grant program starts. If you want more information about that, let me know, because I've got that information handy. But that's where you can send in an application as far as what you want or what you need. It can be a vacuum, it can be a stationary bike, I mean, it can be a Roomba, one of those little vacuums, for your floor. It can be it can be so many different things, and it's something that they do. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Mary. I really appreciate those links. And I remember someone talking about MS Focus, and I've been to the website, but I was really discouraged at the time from all the other no's we don't do that, that I did not give it the time that it was owed. So I yield the floor back to Kim. Thanks, Kim. I appreciate it. And I
Yielding the
appreciate
floor
all
back
of
to
you as
me.
well.
That's hilarious.
Thanks,
Okay.
everyone.
Yeah, so the frustration of having to deal with trying to get your environment in the best shape possible so you can function as independently as possible, and then dealing with the cost of everything and not being able to, a lot of us struggle with financially because we can't work full time because we have MS. So it's a frustrating thing all around. Does anyone else want to say anything else before we move on to what Frank wants to talk about? Okay, Frank, you're up.
Two quick things. Finally, Social Security decided I was disabled. I've
What?
been
What?
I've been fighting with them for 3 months about a new wheelchair because my previous device died, and they were not convinced that I was disabled. I haven't walked in 10 years, but they weren't swinging. But I finally won, and I finally got my new electric wheelchair, so I'm good to go on that. But it was
Yes.
just a struggle. I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how hard it was. And being the advocate that I am, I was not about it to let them suckers win. You just got to tell them no. The next thing, I'll go on to my next issue, or it's not an issue. I got a call from the MS Society, and they asked me to sit on a panel discussion last night for KU med students that were interested in pursuing a neurology specialty. And I was able to give a presentation with a couple of other people to KU med that were interested in going into neurology, and answer their questions and tell them a little bit about MS and what we go through. And it was really a good presentation. I mean, even though I was one of the presenters, I mean, it really worked out very, very well. But it's nice to get a call to do something like that.
Yay. That's awesome, Frank.
And with that, I'll give it back to you, Kim.
Well, just the frustration of like, hey, I have needs. So John was talking about the frustration of having to like get things to, change with what he needs. But you're like, I'm not even gonna walk for 10 years, and then I'm just fighting just to get a new wheelchair. It's just, gosh, it is just so frustrating, guys. Anyone else?
Kim, wait a minute. Karen had a comment about what Social Security got to do with wheelchairs. Medicare.
Oh, Medicare.
Okay, well, they're Social Security. I'm sorry. I say whatever they want. They're the government.
Government, period. That's all.
I'm like a computer. You got to put the right word in. Medicare. I got it.
Anyone else have any comments on Frank's before we move to Soleil?
It just seems like MS gives you all sorts of troubling things that you have to do just to get what you need. Nothing is easy.
Isn't that the truth? Okay, Soleil, you are up. Sorry, I'm noticing my battery is going down on my computer and I'm trying to have it charge up and it's not registering. So if you see me scrambling over here, that's why. I apologize.
Can somebody help me with dealing emotionally with what the word progressive means? Progressive means that it gets worse and worse and it doesn't get better. And it's very hard emotionally. It's like, it's not exactly like every day you wake up it's worse, but it's like every other month you realize you're worse than you were 3 months ago. I mean, it's hard to put a time, frame in it, but more or less you're getting worse and worse. Like you're losing, in my case, I'm losing some of my movement. I have a harder time to get in the car. I have a harder time getting around the house. Everything is getting worse. Can anybody help me with, it's emotionally, it's kind of depressing.
It definitely is, and you're right about progressive. That is what it means. It means that you don't, when you lose ability, the ability doesn't come back like it does in relapsing remitting MS. So I lost my vision, and 6 months later I could see again. So I might have slight different vision. It's a little worse, but it's 90% back, right? But in progressive, it goes bad and then it doesn't really come back like it does. And you guys keep me honest here. That's just the way I understand it.
It's true. Remitting means you might get back bad and then it gets better.
Right.
Progressive, you get bad and it stays bad. Not only does it stay bad, it gets worse.
That's right, because it continues, right? The progression continues, and you.
It's relentless. It's not like you could wish it, but it's not happening.
Yes, like regressive, relapsing MS is like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but with progressive, you don't even get the forward. Right.
So the differences are, well, with the RRMS, relapsing remitting, it does get better or does recover some, some of your lost function. And you have relapses, you have attacks. When you get into the progressive stage, and secondary progressive normally starts as relapsing remitting MS, and then you move to the progressive stage. In primary progressive MS, it starts as primary progressive MS and continues on a downhill slide. And that's basically the 3 differences.
And I think we had a little bit of conversation about this at the very beginning of the meeting, didn't we? Some of the terminology is changing nowadays. Some of the I don't know, descriptions of the quote unquote different types of MS are changing. So they've only known about this disease since the 1800s. We're now figuring out how to talk about it.
And
Yeah,
I really, I
it's interesting,
appreciate
Andrea, but
everything.
what you said there, because yeah, they, you know, like with me, I'm still, and this is part of it can be related to, is it insurance wise to where my doc, you know, my doctors are they're telling me like to my face, yeah, Mary, you've reached you've reached that point to where you're secondary progressive MS. I knew that without them even having to tell me that, right? But now there's also active secondary progressive, and then there's just regular secondary progressive, whatever that means. But the reason why they have me listed under their paperwork per se as relapsing MS is because if something were to change to where I did need to get back on some sort of a medication, there are very few medications that are out there for people with secondary progressive. And but yeah, you said, primary progressive, and Frank said it you described things perfectly, Frank, as far as the different categories. And a lot of people, I see this online when they say, well, have I, this has happened and this has happened. Have I now gone into primary progressive? I'm like, no, it's like you start out with it and that's it, end of story. But at least they're doing a lot of research and there's a lot of different trials. I mean, there are, compared to when a lot of us were diagnosed back in the day, man, there's so many things out there going on in the world of MS. It's pretty incredible. Does that mean that something's going to work for me out there? I don't know. Is it going to work for the next person? Maybe, possibly. Look at what's going on with the whole Epstein-Barr thing. I mean, I had chickenpox, mono twice. The whole. I mean, if you did blood work for me right now, for Epstein-Barr, I would test positive for it. But that's the odd thing. Not everybody has that, so it's a conundrum. It's this whole MS thing is a conundrum, though, isn't it? I mean, it's the most bizarre thing because we're all so different, so different.
It's absolutely true. And so, as far as dealing with it emotionally, I mean, I went to therapy. I take drugs to help with the depression. I get as involved with the community as I can possibly get. It's been really, really hard over the last 2 years to do that, but joining groups like this is just one way of trying to get together with other people, and this is a good group. If there's something specific that's really bothering you, let us know and we can try to help you through it.
I totally agree with Andrea. Like, therapy helped me out a lot. I take my antidepressants. If it wasn't for them, I do not know. The last few meetings I've missed because my daughter, she's going through some major issues. And if it wasn't for therapy and my medicine, I was waiting for a flare up. Like, it was just so much. But talking to somebody because you're grieving, because it's another loss. We when I lost my eyesight, I was like scared and what is going on? And then I started doing the grieving process and being able to process through those grieving, feel those feelings, and if you're angry, scream, because I get angry and I get pissed off because why? Like, why do I have to deal with it? Why am I in pain all the time? I'm a recovering addict. I can't take medicine. I have to watch what I take. So it's like, it's a lot. So I highly suggest you talk to someone that deals with grief. And I'm gonna get off my
And if
soapbox.
And if you can find somebody who knows about MS, that's great. If not, look for somebody who has experience working with people with, oh, you know the word thing.
Chronic illness.
Thank you. Yes.
Same,
I
brain fog.
So like a thing that was really difficult for me to deal with. Like I'm only 36. I'm too young to know what I'm gonna die from. And sorry, and I know that like I assume like some of the younger of us, even some of the older of us, I mean, if you're 92 and then you find out like, okay, you're gonna likely die from some complication from this, that's a big hit. It's not something like if you bounce back and we were just like, okay, cool, I've got this, and like a week, a month, or even like a year, I'd be like, are you telling the truth at all? Because it's a long process for everyone. It's been 6 years for me, and I still mourn it all the time.
And grief is a big. I was fortunate with my primary care doctor because sometimes she would be concerned about whatever, like my mental health or anxiety or this. And then she said to me, I said, I don't think I'm depressed. I said, depressed people don't do what I do. Like, I do intermittent fasting just because my body likes it. But when I eat, it's like, what am I going to eat today? And I think about it. And then I put it together and I set the table really nice. And then I'm into music and singing. And it's like, that is not a depressed person. Because I think she was so out of ideas. Like, have you considered taking antidepressants? It's like, I have a therapist, I have a social worker. I don't think I need drugs because there's no treatment for me or drugs. And I said, I don't think what I have is depression. And she said, you're right. What you have is grief. And I just want to cry saying that. And it's a never ending cascade of grief. And I just I thanked my doctor not too long ago. I said, you do say good things, but I have to say that was like such a gift for me that you said that, because you're asking what does this mean? What are you doing? Oh, but you look great, Solo. You look great, You look fine. And anyway, I don't see the cognitive, John. I'm sorry. I don't see it as far as I can tell your brain works. And, everyone has that. My age, that all that stuff. It's just, so to have the vocabulary to be able to say, look, I don't care if everyone, this is different. Kim's a moderator and she can't spit out the words. Frank can't say the difference between Social Security and Medicare. We get it, I mean, we get it. Wait, what's that word? Andrea, what's that word again? And I was like, I kept it in. I was like, chronic illness, chronic disease. That's probably what she was. But it's just, that is not normal. That is not normal. And it's not normal for other people. It's normal for us. But, how do you cope with the emotional? And, I do have a counselor through my health insurance, and they usually only do time specific. And I talk to her usually at least twice a month. And I said, are you gonna let me go? Especially I've had some really good personal breakthroughs, like emotional regulation and getting things done in the face of things. And then she said, no, you have a chronic illness. Because it's like, well, we get you back on your feet and there you go. It's like, well, we're not on our feet. We don't even know if we want a ramp or a lift. We are not on our feet, and we're not getting back on our feet. And we're like, oh wait, my hand's more paralyzed. I'm definitely at that right now. Like, oh my God, my right side is so paralyzed. I went out with a friend yesterday for the first time in forever. She had to cut my meat. She's in her 80s and she's like, her blood sugar's off. So I'm like, no, why aren't you eating this? It's like, I get along better with people in their 80s because that's about where I'm at. And, but Frank, I want to know from Frank and Jennifer, because actually the two of you, I've been watching you for over a year and I notice decline. I see it in you. And I'm wondering, how do you cope with that?
Jennifer, you want to take it?
I don't want to be offended. Karen, don't take it this way, but I think I'm doing as well as I was a year ago. You know, I have been in a wheelchair for the last, I haven't walked, since 2002, so for 20 years. I don't use my arms as much as I used to, but I think I'm still doing well. The quality of my life is good. I have this group, I'm involved. So I don't think forgive me, some people call me a Pollyanna, but I don't want to think of the shitty things. I don't want to think of MS as winning. So I'm going to say, no, I'm doing good. And maybe some things are harder for me. And yes, Karen, you know, my hair is not styled the way I would like it to be all the time. But I can't focus on that. I try not to. I try and look at the things that I can do. I don't know. I mean, now, Frank, what would you say?
I would say, let's see, I'm in this support group. I harass U.S. congressmen, senators.
Exactly.
They know me very well. Our senators in Kansas know me by first name basis. Helps that I went to school with one of them, by the way. But I stay very busy, very active, and I do not worry and don't complain about what's going on with MS. It's part of my life, and being where I am right now on this call and working with the MS Society is my life, and fighting MS as best I can is what I do.
You know,
Amen.
I admire Dan and Frank's outlook on the disease. I wish I was like you, but I ain't like you. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody has.
You'll find your way, though. That's their way. You have your own way. I have made it my personal point in life to find fun and be around people I love, and that helps me through it. But that's me, and I love music, so as much music as I can get. But
yeah,
you'll find your way.
Yeah, but don't find my way. It's been 21 years. I've had the disease for 21 years. You cannot tell me how to find my way. I'm here. 21, you know, I can laugh, I can do things, you know, I'm not paralyzed. I have a lot of things that I like to do. However, I still have that damn disease, you know, and I can't, I'm incapable of looking at things like Dan and Frank are. You know, I don't have that ability. My thing is, you know, maybe because I'm Jewish, you know, like everything is falling apart and there's a doom. You know, this is my culture. So I'm incapable of functioning like Frank and Jennifer are. You know, it's not within me. You know, to tell me that I'll find my way, it's ridiculous. It's been 21 years. It's just I'm incapable of having that positive attitude that Frank and Jennifer. It doesn't mean I don't do things. It doesn't mean that I don't laugh. You know, I'm a very funny person. You know, I have a lot of things I do, but I still see MS as an hindrance.
And Soleil, I am so with you. This disease holds me back from doing so much, and I'm tired right now. I had steroids yesterday. I was at the infusion center all day. And to be honest, I love this group. but there's a bajillion other things I would rather do. I would rather just be sitting on my butt watching TV and eating Easter candy because I know that's shitty, terrible for me. But it's just like I need to be with my people. I need to be in my community. And so I think so like you hit it on the head that it's different every day where like you can have fun, but just there's always this nagging disease. It's always there. It's like a little gray cloud over your head. So I get you, and I don't in any way belittle that. I just, for me, I can't, like, if I stay down there, it doesn't do good for me.
So like one of the questions that I had to answer last night, or each of us had to answer, was how has MS affected your life? And in what ways has it affected your life? And I honestly had to sit there and say, there's not an area of my life it has not affected. And we all deal with it differently. And I don't think any of us are any different. I mean, we're all dealing with MS. It's just that some of us have one way of dealing with it, and some people have to have a little help with it. And it's life. I mean, what can I say? We're all different. We all have different MS.
And different psyches and emotional makeup. Yeah.
And different things that are accomplishments. Like I got myself a drink of water while we were sitting here, and I'm like, high five. Like, go Jen, you got yourself a drink of water. So it's just little things like I don't know. I can't compare myself to other people. And that's been really hard for me. I don't know about any of you. But when I was 25, I could walk and I could go places and I could drive. And then I'm 30 and I'm in a wheelchair. And it's just like I can't compare myself or have benchmarks like other people because they're not living with multiple sclerosis.
Right.
Wow.
And you can't compare yourself to somebody else with multiple sclerosis either.
Amen.
No.
That's the thing. And as far as our emotions, and the time frame it takes, there is no alarm clock as far as how long we're supposed to go through the grieving process after we're diagnosed, or there's no alarm clock to tell us, okay, well now, okay, you've been upset about this diagnosis long enough. Now, what are you going to do with your life
Right.
now? And whether whether you're single or married or what have you, divorce happened with me when I was shortly after my MS. That's a whole different story, but I'd like to address that sometime. So Rick, if you want to put that bug in your ear as far as relationships, but anyway, but yeah, what we're doing right here, our community, especially for people who do live by themselves. Yes, MS sucks. But when you have a chance to reach out and have different people to talk to, even if it's not talking just about MS, just shoot the shit, talk about whatever's going on, share music and laughter and a sense of humor, the health benefits. I mean, it's health benefits of just a sense of humor. There's nothing funny about MS. But I sometimes find ways to find laughter. A friend of mine, in fact, she sent me a picture. She said, "Look what I did." It was her dishwasher, and she had a big lump of cheese. Instead of putting it in the refrigerator, she put her cheese in the dishwasher. That she was laughing. I thought that was hysterical. So see, there's some things we do. And there's been times that I've taken, like my landline in my car, and I'm like, thinking it's my cell phone, and I'm taking my home phone. I'm like, gosh, why isn't this working? And I'm driving down the road. I'm like, what's wrong? And I've got my landline in my hand. So you
That's
got to have a sense of
priceless.
humor over all the crap that happens, and you also have to remember you don't always have to I mean, we live with MS 24/7, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So find things to watch on TV or films or listen to music that doesn't have anything to do with that. Talk to people, even who do have MS or not, and just I guess what I'm trying to say is community engagement, interaction with other people. That's been my saving grace. That has helped me so much, and my dog. So
But on a more serious note, Kim, I think she brought up a good subject, relationships and MS. Some of you are married, some of us are single, some of us, MS is somewhat related of the end of a relationship, so it's a good subject.
I'm gonna skew things just a little bit and have you guys think out of the box here for just a moment because I had a philosophical guy once challenge me. He's like, so what are the benefits of having MS? He really challenged me because everyone always talks about the negative. And I'm like, well, one of the big benefits for me is I've met so many amazing people that would have never met who both have MS and don't have MS. If I didn't have MS, I would not have crossed paths with like everyone in this room. I would have never met you. You never crossed paths in my life. And another thing that was really interesting that came up when he was doing this deep dive with me was I was thinking about it and I'm like, cognitive issues, it's really hard going from, reading scientific journals to like last summer I had to read Laura Ingalls Wilder books because I could only comprehend, ages 8 to 12 years old. And thinking about it was like, well, how is this beneficial? And this is philosophical, guys, so just bear with me here, okay? But it was just like, you know what? When you have cognitive issues, for me, this is my personal experience, I can't really live in the past and I can't really live in the future. So I just kind of focus in the present. And by doing that, a lot of my stress, or I think sometimes it's not coming out because I'm cognition issues, bear with me here, but it's just like I'm only worried about the present. And that takes a lot of stress and issues off of me because I'm not worried about like, yeah, that was me in the past and I can't do that things, but that's okay. And I just learned to like just pivot and go with the flow. And that has been a really for me a massive coping mechanism. And we were also talking about like I have extreme emotions now. So when I have an extreme emotion, I can't hold it back now. So when I get really sad, I just start crying. And I was like, man, I was like, being super vulnerable around people and how embarrassing it was, like people I really didn't know or people I knew, and I started crying. And then I realized one day, well, if you had to choose between being over emotional and being a robot, no emotions, which one would you pick? It's like, well, I'd pick being over emotional because, I don't want to, it makes me very human. But the upside to that is it makes me very vulnerable and it's very easy for people to relate to me. And I can't tell you how many people, when I'm vulnerable and I'm myself, and I allow them like, hey, I have lots of issues. I have lots of, because we all have, none of us are perfect. I'll be the first one to say I'm not. But just being the reality of like, you're human, you have faults, and it just opens up like amazing relationships and being able to connect with people. And I guess I'll just say I'll challenge everyone to try to like look at this is crazy, but what positive things has MS brought to your life that and I think my main thing is being able to all the new amazing people and the relationships I have that I would have not had without MS, and certain things that have allowed me to deal with my life makes it easier now because I don't. And now, before I used to get really frustrated with the cognition issues because I couldn't remember, and now it's just a fun game that I have with people where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to think of a word, and it's like we're playing like 20 questions or something. I'm describing it, and then they say, like, yes, thank you so much. And I just laugh. And I used to remember, I used to get so frustrated with cognition issues. I get so mad and so angry. And now when I remember something, like, woo! High fives all around. I remembered something, guys. And I just go with it. And like I joke with people, I moderate this group. And what's my worst time at night? At night, I'm tired, but we roll with it and it works. So, and that's how it is.
But
So.
Kim, you said that you cry and you get emotional, but you also laugh a lot as well.
I laugh a lot. Huge coping mechanism for me.
Smiling and laughing. I'm going to tell you the thing that I really like about having MS and being disabled, the parking.
Ooh, yes, that is a good perk.
I live
I
in
don't have it
Brooklyn,
yet. I don't have
so
the
I
parking
have
yet.
my special parking for the city, for Brooklyn. So I could technically park anywhere. And I, as well as my, the state-wise, the blue one, and so that I've always liked, and I thought that if you want to have MS for a good reason, this is a good one. The parking and the people in Brooklyn, they finally decided, instead of doing it every year, which is a pain in the ass, they did it from 2022 to 2025. So it's 3 years now. How many years did they take them to realize that doing it every year is a pain for everybody? But anyway, I digress.
No, you
I
actually,
have I
no,
have
you said
permanent.
it perfectly.
I have a
Oh,
permanent. I've disabled
Yeah.
plates because when you
oh,
have cognition issues, do you really need to remember to put the blue tag up and take it down?
Amen.
So I mean, I get that, but I had to change my car a couple of years ago, and I was like, I'm going for permanent plates, and now
technically
my
I could do it too, right? Technically, I could do it.
yeah, it's because you're not, because you know what, like you said, it's progressive. You're not going to get better. But
Oh,
now my beef is because where I
China.
live now my beef is all the people who aren't disabled who are in the spots, and it's
And
challenging.
Karen, that's your gateway drug to advocacy because you'll get so boogered up that people are parking in your spot and you'll be like, I'm gonna do something about this. I'm gonna call my government and this is gonna be how you're gonna start being more of an advocate, Karen.
I've been an advocate. I mean, that was my job. I mean, I
Yeah,
do it,
and
and it's my job for myself. But what happens is, my favorite place is the pool, and it's by a park.
yeah.
And they actually increased the handicap spots there. But Oakland is kind of a lawless city, so it's really crazy. And so, you know, and then people have like, crappy cars. They're not disabled, and then they have like paper plates, so they don't even own the car. And so they don't do anything about it. And then I go to the pool. Like today I was complaining because it's like every day I go in there, forget about the parking issue. Every day there's just something, I'm coming up and then there's a gate. And so I'm on the ramp and the gate's right in front of me. Well, how am I supposed to get by it? Then somebody threw some dog crap over the fence and, I'm walking by it. Well, then when it got hot, so I told him at the pool, I said, there's some dog shit out there. It stinks to high heaven. So he did go out and he put it in the garbage can. 3 weeks it took to empty that garbage can. So I'm like, what a shitty disease. And I got to walk by that shitty smell. Nobody else has to do it. And the difference between like ramps and lifts, and the ramp makes me walk more. But now because of COVID, I have to put a mask on when I go in to check in with the pool, which means I had to take my paralyzed hand to get the thing out. So, and the hand, I have to push the button to
Does
open the
anyone
gate.
else have anything else they want to say on this topic before we move on to Lewis's thing?
Can I throw something out there as far as like the parking spots, people parking in the disabled spots? There's an app. There's an app. That's what I was doing. I was trying to find it, and it's called. I'll try to put it in the chat box. It's called Parking Mobility, and basically it's an app to where if you see somebody that doesn't have their license plate, the plates or the hanger, or if you see, because well, anyway, it's I find it particularly worse like during holidays or weekends when, like going to Target or Walmart or something. But it's called Parking Mobility. And basically, but you report the abuse, and I'll just send you the link for it in the chat box and you guys can take a look at it. But yeah, so just throwing that out there.
But sometimes it makes you so mad. I mean, I remember before COVID, I used to go to coffee shop and I could park, in a special park, the blue zone. And then one day there was a guy very young with that very expensive car. So he put his expensive car in my parking space. So when he gets into the coffee shop, from the window, he could watch his car. It makes me so mad, very young with the attitude, and here I am struggling with my walker. You feel you're mad, you want to cry, and you feel very helpless because what are you gonna do? Start arguing with this guy? He's twice my size. He's young and he's not disabled. He could hurt me. I mean, you have to think about these things too.
Taking a pee down the side of his very expensive car.
Okay, let's get to Lewis. Lewis, what did you want to talk about?
Oh, I was just curious. I was just wondering if anyone had experience with Symmetril. My doctor just put me on it to try to help with my fatigue, and so I just started it yesterday. But I was curious on if anyone's experienced it before. And she also dropped me on magnesium too for my migraines. But I was just curious. Yeah.
What was the drug again?
Symmetril. The generic name is Amantadine. You probably know it by the name Amantadine.
Yeah.
I tried it years ago, and honestly, it didn't. As far as mobility, for some reason, it's supposed to help with your. How do I put this? It's not really fatigue related, but more like being able to move at a more speedy rate. Does that make sense? Am I saying that the right way?
Yeah, it increases your walking speed, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I was like, what you said it was in here, but it couldn't come out here. Yeah, so I tried it and it didn't do anything. There are stimulants of different kinds. Some are of a different class, like that are used like for ADD. And I've had some decent success with those sometimes. Then there's also Provigil, Nuvigil. There's a bunch of different things, but you just kind of have to talk to your doctors and kind of see what the best fit is going to be. But man, I think, I don't know, out of all my issues, fatigue, because fatigue isn't just like, oh, I gotta lay down and you feel like you weigh 300 pounds. Fatigue is in your brain. Fatigue is also physical. Fatigue is just all encompassing with everything. And so it's hard. That's where it's kind of hard for me to pinpoint that fatigue issue, because it's everything, anyway. Well, Louis, I'm sorry. I hope. Well, when did your doctor put you on that?
Well, thanks for the insight. I appreciate it. I got it filled yesterday, so today was my first time. So yeah.
Did you notice any difference?
No,
today?
Because I still crashed for a 1 hour nap, but I think maybe it might take a couple of days or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really know how it works.
Thinking about it, I think I was on Amantadine for a while there, Louis. I think I then was switched to Provigil, but I remember getting multiple refills of it. So I'm assuming it helped somewhat, but I'm looking back, I can't really remember, like discreetly remember like it didn't work or it did work. So just hang in there and maybe take it for a month and see if you slowly, because sometimes it's something where it just kind of, you don't really know. I think of it like if you like Prozac. It takes a couple of weeks before you see an effect. Like it might take a little while to get it built in your system. So don't give up hope after the first day. But if you don't like it after so long, talk to your doctor. Maybe they can switch you to something else.
But good luck on your first, dose and everything.
Yeah.
Starting something new is freaky.
Yeah, I was a little worried, but yeah. See how it goes.
Yeah. Speaking of starting something new, Carmen, this is your first night with us. How's it going for you?
Well, it's nice to be here and to be in a room with similar experiences from all of you. Like I'm hearing things that are consistent with what I've experienced, and it's just nice to find some people that get it. I was actually thinking, Soleil, about what you were saying, and I just want to say to you, you're allowed to be upset that you have MS. Like sometimes I feel guilty that I'm a little bit pissed off that I have MS, and then I just think, well, I'm allowed to be pissed off. But at the same time, then I also think, okay, it's like the roll of the dice. This is what I got. Other people got other things, and this is what I got, and I can't change it. So being upset and bitchy about it is only going to make my life more miserable and those around me. So those are the things that I try to repeat to myself when I'm having a hard time. It doesn't always work, but that's what I kind of just, I give myself permission to be upset. So anyway, but back to just the group. I'm just so happy to be here and to know that I've got a group of people that are going to understand what I'm saying. Because when I'm hearing you talk, it's like, oh yeah. I don't know if you've seen me. I've been nodding my head most of the meeting. So.
Okay. And just so you know that if your husband would like to join us, he's always welcome. My husband, Dan, he's normally here. And like I said, he has MS, and your husband doesn't have to have MS to show up. But spouses are always welcome. Or if you have, if you have somebody like a friend or something that you want to bring to the group, it's good. So, but thanks for joining us tonight. It's just nice to connect.
Thank you.
You had a question, Carmen, about knee replacements.
Yes. So I have a knee replacement coming up in basically a month, the 26th of May. And I'm going back and forth about should I request a general anesthetic or should I go with a spinal? So I am still walking and I use a rollator. My right side is a bit more affected and I have quite a bit of numbness in my foot, and often it's like freezing cold, like it's just a dead appendage, but I can still move it and everything. I'm just really nervous about like actually, volunteering to put something to sleep. Kind of just worries me a little bit, but my neurologist reassured me that a spinal would be fine, like don't worry about it. But then I think, okay, a general is going to completely wipe me out and like affects my whole system. So I'm kind of going back and forth on each of these things. And I just thought I'd ask if anyone's had surgery and what has been your experience. I know we're all different, but just looking for info.
May I ask you, the knee surgery, is it on your right side or your left side?
My left.
Is it MS related or no relation?
Well, it's probably MS related in that it's worse now because my left leg was my stronger leg. So I probably overused it because my right leg was a bit weaker. So it's arthritis, but, some damage, a couple of falls. I was a skater and, just different things that over the years. So.
Carmen, I've had 2 surgeries in the past couple months, and I went under general, and I came back feeling just fine. I got COVID between those 2 surgeries, so the second surgery is just harder to recover from. But the first one, the day after, I went on an 8-hour drive halfway to my in-laws. The next day, I did an 8-hour drive to my in-laws, and then spent the week with in-laws and nieces and like a lot of kids around. So I jumped back pretty quickly. Although, as my training as a drug ambassador says, your experience may be different. Consult your neurologist before.
Awesome.
But
Thanks, John.
yeah, it was a pretty good comeback.
My experience would say don't consult your neurologist because on my road, I don't know, have you ever had anesthesia?
Not like me. I was very young. I don't remember.
I never had anesthesia, and I know I could have exited the planet without ever having it because my pulse is now no comfort measures. And on the road to why am I falling? What's wrong with me in 2018? You have something on your thyroid. Anyway, long story short, short story long when it comes to me. They decided I needed to have my thyroid taken out before they figured out my diagnosis. Even though I had markers and positive oligoclonal bands, the neurologist didn't notice. He thought maybe you have, I was looking for relapse and remission. And it's like at my age with 20 years of symptoms, what the heck were you? So then maybe they wanted to clean up the surgery schedule. And before I could see the MS specialist for us, I got stuck in surgery for removing half my thyroid. I didn't know it takes 20 years to kill you. That, I think I would have just not ever had the surgery since I'm 70. Like I can take those odds. But whoops, I didn't have
That
help me
information.
out here. Cancer. I didn't have thyroid cancer. So in the meantime, the MS specialist I was supposed to see is now on maternity leave. And so who am I going to see? Like nobody gave me that. Now who am I going to see? I got to see the other one in San Francisco. You got to fill out a form. My brain was not working. I couldn't do it. I asked a friend, can you help me? I don't know how to do this. So that was in November, the end of November. And then in January and then February, I went to see this neurologist to say, how did you miss it? I just want to know. I mean, I'm trusting you. How the hell did you miss this? And I said, I have cognitive issues. And ever since then, he goes, well, that doesn't make, no, other people would say, oh, that doesn't make sense that you would have cognitive issues after the anesthesia. And then he said, well, I don't see it. And it's like, oh, yes, Mr. Arrogant Neurologist, because you know how smart I am and you know how, so I found out I used to be a genius, but I never knew it. And as I kept losing it. So I would say, from what I'm hearing too, heard is like, because of my age and because I wasn't diagnosed with MS, but because I did have a neurological condition, it did affect me. I felt it, and there's no way for sure, like some people say, it doesn't happen every day, but like in a week, every 2 weeks, you notice it's progressing, I'm losing. So it could have been, oh, coincidence, but it was definitely, I'm very articulate in writing, really in writing. And it's like, I don't know how to answer these questions. I don't know so
Well,
You-
Carmen, go ahead, Silly.
No, I mean, Karen, doctors know a lot, but they don't know everything. So there's always, okay, so the doctor knows that much, 80%, and there's a 20%, it's a question mark. They don't know everything. Like sometimes they answer a question and they might be wrong. They might not know.
I think they know the 20% and not the 80%.
Well, yeah, I
Of
was
course,
trying
you
to
know
be
2%.
kind.
So, who am I to talk?
Trying to be respectful to the medical profession.
No, that part I get because I know people that were angry for me. They were angry with me that I wasn't angry that I got half my thyroid taken out. But I was a registered nurse. I got good information. They really thought it was. I actually do have thyroid tissue outside of the jugular vein. They're going to write up stories. One of the surgeons said, we've never seen this. There's a boy in Egypt who had thyroid tissue on his tongue. So, and then we debated to take the whole thing out, but we realized, no, we can't take the whole thing out. So, no, they don't know. But if I tell a neurologist I'm having cognitive issues and he's denying it and he's saying, I don't see it. Well, he dropped dead in the office. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe he was under a lot of pressure. But
I don't want to insult it, but maybe he's an idiot. to be nice.
Insensitive.
Sensitive idiot.
Well, anyway, thank you all for your input. I just wanted to throw it out there and ask for any stories.
I wanted to tell you, Carmen, my mom had a partial knee replacement less than 2 weeks ago,
Oh.
and she had the spinal block. That was a question they asked her, and she absolutely loved it. She was a little nervous because she has scoliosis, so her, spinal cords are her vertebrae is a little on the wonky side, so she was but she loved it, and she had it done at Mayo Clinic, and if you can pee after surgery, they discharge you to home that day. So she was back in the hotel with me that night. That after that 7 o'clock,
Wow.
we were out and back in the room. So, and to see how she recovered from it, the cool thing was that she was very alert. Like when they allowed me to go back and see her after surgery, she was very cognitive. She understood what was going on. She wasn't like this daisy, dazed out of it or anything like that. The only thing that I noticed was, and I don't know if this is how different than general anesthesia or anything like that, but it took her about 24 hours to get her urinary tract online. I was really concerned, like she wasn't peeing a lot, so I was concerned because she was drinking all this water and like she's like just tinkling versus actually like doing full void, so I was like concerned about that. But in 24 hours she was fine, and I think that was my biggest concern was I'm like, okay, that system's not quite online, but better than that. But she just raved about it. She's like, oh, it's just so nice, and she loved it. And that was one thing that they did say, is that not having the generals, that you're not going to have that woozy, and then they don't have to keep you as long because it's easier for you, because you're not putting this part to sleep, just
Yep.
so
Cool. Okay, good to hear. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And I noticed the time and that we're getting close to 10 o'clock. And I hope everyone would be cool with this. But I just want to ask the students that are listening tonight if you all had any questions for those of us here in the group tonight.
I just wanted to say thank y'all so much for letting us join. It was very insightful, and one of my favorite parts was when you mentioned, I forget who it was, but talking about how people kind of talk about the disadvantages of MS, and one of the advantages that's commonly looked over is this community that y'all have built, and I think that's really special.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for contributing that. Yeah.
Our next meeting is May 10th, which sounds so far away, but that's only 2 weeks away.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that, it's like half the month is over. Like, and when we meet next in May, it's like, what is this about?
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything else they wanted to comment or discuss or wrap up?
So the only thing I'd like to say, if I may, is that I just want to come back to what I started with, which is Elizabeth Jameson, who is I think secondary progressive. She's in a wheelchair. She needs a caregiver. She's a pretty amazing lady. She started off as an artist and then a lawyer and an advocate, and her art that she's going to show us tomorrow night is all related to her MRI scans. So you guys will relate to that. And she's made art out of her MRI scans. I mean, she really is something.
That takes guts.
And what's that?
It takes guts to do that.
Well, I mean, honestly, she has a TED talk, so you could look up Elizabeth Jameson TED talk, and or maybe somebody here will put it in. The meeting, I interview her. That's what happened. We have a Solo Arts Heal, which is a collaboration with the Marsh Theatre Company in the Bay Area, which Karen I know is familiar with. And I interview different people each month, and she's the guest for this month. And I don't know how we're going to get through all the things we need to talk about. But one of the big things that she asked me to absolutely hit on, and I have it here, is this whole issue about how disability changes your life, especially in you're in a wheelchair. And I said, well, our MS people talk a lot about how they have invisible disability because people don't see it, they don't recognize it, and which she agreed on. And she also wants me to touch on another issue you talked about tonight, which is the denial and the acceptance of the disease. She's a firm believer, and I think Jen is must be a great disciple, that you have to accept your disease and come to work with it and not against it. So these are a few other things. The whole show is only an hour, and we've got 3 of her videos to show. So please come along. If you miss it, it will be, we have to wait on the marsh to process, but we do record it. We do post it on our Solo Arts Heal website on AnCan, so you will get it later. But if you come in live, you can ask her questions, and we'll be looking in the chat box. So think about it, tell your friends, and it's worth staying up for. Like I say, she's totally inspirational. I also put higher. I've just reposted the link for tomorrow. You just click on that link, and then you'll choose if you want to come in on Zoom or YouTube. I also put further up the link to her MS Connections website. So this is a new website that she's doing with friends, and they're posting videos, and there's the opportunity to listen to that live too, and to ask her questions live, and the other people on her panel live. So so check that out. We're excited, and that's all. I think that's all I got to say. Oh, yes, one other thing. If you have any friends that are living with lupus, we just started a lupus group. We are also starting a pancreatic cancer group on Thursday. And next month, we hope to start a chronic pain group. It'll be either in May or June. So if any of you are living with chronic pain, it's going to be a disease agnostic group. So we hope we'll get people with all kinds of different conditions that they live with. But the conditions result in chronic pain. And so we spread the word on that one. So, and that's it. I'm done.
And
You
I
guys,
just want to say this really quick, Rick. I don't type, but, and this is just a totally, I'm working with I Conquer MS, and we're putting together some resources for caregivers of those of us living with MS. Like Dan is kind of my caregiver, but at the same point, I'm his. If your spouse is your caregiver, or if you have a professional caregiver, we're trying to survey those people to get some insight. And if you are interested in participating in a survey, I can send it out to you if I have your email address or some way to contact you. And Carmen, I hope that you've given your information to AnCan, and I imagine I've seen many of your faces before, so just some way to stay in touch. And if you want to participate in the caregiving survey, I Conquer MS would appreciate it.
So we will forward that to Alexa, and we'll and Jen, just be sure that Alexa includes that survey in the next couple of reminders for you, if that's a good time frame. Certainly, the next reminder will absolutely put it in.
Thank
so
you,
it'll
Rick.
go out
That's
to
super generous. Thank you.
No. We're happy to do that. And yes, Carmen, if you send, we send out a reminder before every meeting. I don't know quite how you found us, but we send out a reminder. So either you can send your email, you can put it in the chat, you can send it to rd@ancan.org, or you can go yourself to the website and register yourself. And that way you'll just get a reminder. And we're very respectful of the list. The only thing we tell you about any time we reach out, if it isn't for a webinar or an MS group, is once a year we do a fundraiser. So we won't be bugging you on that, we promise. So I just want to congratulate the mods that you guys did an awesome job tonight. You are so good. I just have to say, in front of everybody.
I'm going to keep the recording going, so until you stop.
This group, be careful, Miss Kim, because you're doing such a good job. We're going to bring you in. We're going to bring you in to help Alexa do the training. Watch out, okay?
It's all fly my pants, whatever we call it. Well, I can't even get the what's the word? What do you call it? Not euphemisms. Whatever you call it in the English language.
Metaphor.
I can't even get that right now, guys.
Tonight, I just want to say, I mean, that's true about the facilitation, but I know that Rick, I felt that because I've been coming here for a year and 2 months. And Rick is always like, oh, we have great moderators. That's true. That is true. But he is the man. He moderates the moderators. He pays attention to what works. I know nobody told me, but I know after certain meetings, or maybe every meeting, okay, guys, let's go over what happened, what makes things work, what makes things not work. And that's just like Rick's the man, the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, no, I thank you for that. But, the bottom line is we really want to make all our AnCan groups, and we've now got, I don't know, 12, 14 different conditions, 25 groups. But we want to make them a great experience. We want you to come back. That's really what we want. So we try to create. We want it to be like you're just sitting around the table at home having a chat. So anyway, thank you, everybody.
The chat really worked tonight. That we
Yeah.
haven't used the chat that much. I mean, some do. Amanda would kind of use it, but I really think that helped a lot on the chaos. Is like, okay, you can use the chat. You can send someone a note. I think it's good to remind people about that because I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, and I just want to say that we take the chat and we post the chat with the recording, but I'm limited in the number of words. So if we cannot get all the chat in, last month we tried using the forum for that, the MS forum, and we gave you a link. So we'll do that again. Look, we're losing people. We got to go. Goodbye.
Goodbye. We'll see you all in